Hi, and welcome back to the 50/50 Project, where every week I talk about an item on a list made up of one thing I've learned for each year I have lived so far. Life got a little crazy for a bit, and I ended up posting 2 episodes late and back to back this weekend, and everyone's oversaturated and tired of me, but I think with today's installment, we'll be back on track for just once a week posting as regular. I hope. Today we're heading back into the happiness category for a second time already. I plan to rotate through the 10 categories pretty evenly for the most part. There are a couple we haven't gotten to yet. I think the conflict management bucket and the love category we both have yet to touch on. But I have something to say about happiness that seems particularly timely today. So I'm just going to double back and hit happiness again first. So thing number 8. Make friends with the season you're in. I'm recording and posting this on Memorial Day, the Monday of Memorial Day weekend, which I think is pretty widely accepted here in the U.S. as the official start of summer. And in Indianapolis here, it is a huge weekend because they run the Indy 500 on Memorial Day weekend. If you're curious, Joseph Newgarden won last night, a repeat winner, same guy who won last year. It happened after a long rain delay, and then there was a really exciting sort of duel in the last few laps between Newgarden and Pato O'Ward. It's a very exciting race. But at any rate, it's been a really clear gateway weekend here, and the city, I can feel it has just sort of shifted gears en masse to a city in summer. And that's terrible, because I hate summer. For my entire life, it has been my least favorite season. I hate heat, I hate bugs, I hate open bodies of water and suddenly being expected to swim in them gleefully. I hate the style and the feel of summer clothes. And as a person with incredibly pasty, pale skin, I hate too much of the sun, and I also hate the feel and the smell of sunscreen. In fact, I hate summer so much that it also sort of causes me to hate spring too, because I have a feeling of dread pop up with every bud and every robin that appears. This was a huge problem for me when I lived in Georgia, where spring starts the day after Christmas, basically, and you start seeing both wasps and jonquils by mid-February. So this is a thing for me, and over the decades, it has constituted a real challenge to my happiness for like half the calendar, and that's a waste. And intellectually, I get that that's a waste. But emotionally, it's been hard for me to cope with the feeling that the hot weather is never going to end while I'm in it. And also feeling sort of a panicky sense that autumn and winter are slipping through my fingers every minute I'm in them too. So it not only affects my happiness during spring and summer, but it kind of poisons the whole round of the year if I let it, if I'm not careful. While I was growing up, nobody else I knew really reacted to the turn of the year in this way, so I assumed this was something uniquely wrong with me. I think it's much more common to meet people who react against the coming of winter and the lack of sunlight at that time of year, so I've always felt like I cut against the grain on this a little bit, and I've had to develop a sense of humor about it over the years. Because people sometimes struggle to understand why I am rendered so miserable by warm weather and why I seem to thrive more in the cold and snow. But earlier this year, I was talking to a couple friends of mine, coworkers, and one of them was explaining how hard winter has always been for her and how she struggles with the early nights and can feel a sort of gathering sense of dread in the autumn. And I explained that I have a similar reaction in the exact opposite direction. But instead of finding that odd, she said she sees it as more or less the exact same challenge. She went on to say that she was going to really try hard this year to make friends with winter instead of railing against it. And that got me thinking about what it would take for me to come to détente with warmer weather. And once I started thinking about it along those lines, I really wanted to make it work. None of us knows how much time we have or how many years or how many seasons, and how incredibly foolish it seems to just surrender to the idea that I'm destined to be markedly less happy for a quarter or even half of each year that I'm lucky enough to get in the first place. I think this is probably pretty obvious to most people. Most folks probably just sort of instinctively grasp that we want to make the most of each season as it comes. But I am sometimes impressively obtuse when it comes to nurturing my own happiness. So for the first time, I'm working through an intentional process of making friends with spring and summer this year. So this time around, I've been trying harder to be aware of what makes spring different than all the other times of the year, and what parts of the season I particularly like or look forward to. I love fresh flowers, and I am really obsessed with peonies. So this year, when the cherry blossoms came to life in the big state park just a few blocks down from my apartment, I forced myself to go over and take a look at them and shoot some pictures, and they were gorgeous. And I took full advantage of peony season this year. I bought them every time I saw them, and I saw a lot of them here in Indiana. And I don't even want to think about how much money I actually spent on cut flowers this spring. But I also visited a very generous friend who grows them in his own yard, and he cut me an enormous, gorgeous bouquet. I've tried to think about all kinds of seasonal things, certain events that only happen in the spring maybe, like March Madness. I love college basketball, so this year I signed up for a streaming subscription just long enough to watch the tournament. And although this Boilermaker's heart was broken in the end, I am glad I took the step to more fully embrace that part of the rites of spring. Now, I imagine summer is going to turn out to be a little bit more of a test, since I traditionally have disliked it so much, and I really don't do well with the heat. But I'm going to try to home in on some of the summery things that I do like. I decided arbitrarily that June 1st is the official start of popsicle season in this household. I normally don't keep them around because I can't stay out of the damn things. But on that day, 1st of June, I'll pick up a box of the lemonade ones I especially love. I like to keep flowers in the house, so I'm going to try to buy them on Wednesdays at the farmer's market, just a block up from here, which only operates seasonally. The 4th of July fireworks, I discovered, are launched from the building a few doors down, so I guess I'll step out onto the street that night and take a look at those this year. And although the days of having the summer off are long past for me, I'm going to try to lean into the fact that my office does slow way down in the summertime, so I can maybe use it as its own kind of break from the rest of the work year, maybe reset my pace and shift some of my attention to different projects that I've been itching to work on but haven't had time for yet. I'm somewhat optimistic that this will work, in part because my friend seems to have been pretty successful at embracing winter last year. She mentioned taking walks along the shore where she lives in California and training herself to really look for the differences between a summer ocean and a winter one, or the summer light and the winter version. Really, the world will give you a lot of wonder and a lot of beauty if you let it, and every season has its qualities to look for if you only look for them. Historically, I haven't been a great looker, except maybe during autumn. But this summer, I'm going to try to open my eyes wider and be more grateful for the time I'm actually in. Maybe I'll shut down the computer and turn off the lights and just watch when the best of the summer storms roll through. I do love a good lightning show. I think that's the one redeeming feature of summer weather, in my opinion. I think even a moderate improvement in looking for the unique beauty of each season can probably offer a major uptick in my day-to-day happiness. And I suppose it's not too much of a leap to interpret the idea of making friends with the season you're in a little more broadly. It could be summer you're trying to make peace with, or it could be stepping into your college era or middle age. It might be a fresh start in a new city or a reboot after losing a job. I don't think anybody needs me to unpack the merits of trying to find the silver lining in a metaphorical season as well as a literal one, so I won't. I'll just say that I think that trying to make friends with summer can probably only help me the next time I need to find the good in some more serious turn in the round of a year or in this life. Okay, quick execution score. Go in with a 5 out of 10 here. I'm not sure I'm succeeding at this yet, but at least with the help of my friend, I have finally taken stock of a major problem in my life and made a plan for trying to solve it, or at least mitigate it. Check back with me when it's 110 degrees in August and we'll see how it all panned out. Okay, I think that's enough out of me for one day, except to send my thoughts out to those of you who are experiencing the great cicada summer. I've not seen a single one of them in Indiana so far, but friends in Illinois have sent photographs of hundreds or thousands of them massed around the tree trunks. No hate for cicadas, they are fascinating and harmless creatures, but I think if one landed on me, I would hurl myself into the sun. So whatever your cicada situation and wherever you are as Memorial Day ushers in a new season, I hope you're finding ways to enjoy the moment you're in. Thanks for spending some time with me today, and I'll be back next week with thing number 9.